right, what's going on, boys? It's Keg and Coop from Rum Pure Bets. Talk a little NASCAR this weekend, not Sunday, actually tomorrow night. If you watched the live show 2 weeks ago, it was another profitable race on Sunday. We grabbed Truex Stage 1 at plus 700, and then we even hopped on Logano late at even money to get the win with 20 laps to go. So, it ended up being profitable. Not as good as we've done, but still profitable. This week, NASCAR back off the layoff. We head to another one of our favorite tracks, another 1.5 mile short track in Martinsville Speedway. I think it's the Blue Emu Maximum Pain Relief 500, I believe.
Say that 5 times fast.
I can't. But before we talk about the race, let's recap the dirt race at Bristol. Coop, what's up, buddy? Before we get into it, overall thoughts on the dirt race a couple weeks ago. My thought was all these dirt track experts shit the bed.
They did. They definitely did shit the bed, man. And I think, looking back on those results, I'll hit on it a little bit later. But when you see who was up there, it wasn't kind of surprising, man, when you look at who's really dominated these short tracks here most recently. So, overall, I thought it was a very good race. They're going to have to choose some things. They're going to do it again next year, but they're going to learn from it. And I think it'll be better next year than what it was this year. I thoroughly enjoyed it much, much more than the Xfinity race.
Yeah.
The Xfinity race was just, 5 laps, 10 laps, and you're done. There were a couple of nice long green flag runs during the NASCAR Cup Series race, which was very nice to see. So I definitely enjoyed the Cup race much more than the Xfinity.
I agree totally. It was fun. I'm happy to get back to the pavement, though. I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what? I think we're going to see dirt at least one more time this year, right?
Yeah, the Xfinity race has a dirt race coming up in Nashville or Knoxville, one of those two places.
All right. So let's turn to tomorrow night. Martinsville. If we know anything about this track, we know that track position is king. In the last 30 races, 23 out of the last 30 winners have started in the top 5 rows on the grid. So, track position is really important. You got to start inside the top 10 if you want to win for the most part at Martinsville. And that's probably enough for me to not even look past row 5 on the grid tomorrow night if you're looking to bet a winner pre-race. Obviously, stats oftentimes, guide us when we're betting the sport. And even when we're live betting the sport, yeah, we're watching the race. But what I'm primarily focused on is that real-time data that's coming into the feed on my laptop. So what are your overall thoughts on what we see in Martinsville tomorrow night? Not specifically who you think is going to win, but how do you think the race sets up?
This is a pretty wonky race 3 out of the past 4 times. And then with all the wonkiness that we've seen so far this year, who knows what's going to happen. If you recall last year, the spring race, which ended up being in June because of COVID, I believe, they ran new tires. First time they ran these tires at that track. And they had a long green flag run at the beginning. And people were in shock because Kyle Busch missed the setup, Denny Hamlin missed the setup, Ryan Blaney missed the setup. They all lost 1 lap at the very beginning of the race, which is unheard of for those drivers. What was important, though, was that Blaney fought back. And he had an absolute rocket that night, and he ended up finishing second. The 2 races prior to that, were in the previous year, and we saw Martin Truex dominate one race and Brad Keselowski dominate the other race. And when I mean dominate, they led over 450 laps of that race, which is, absolutely unheard of here at Martinsville because of all of the track position opportunities that you have to gain on pit road with the number of cautions and the chances that you have to go down through there and the strategy that they have to play out. So, that has me of concern right there. But if you look at the past history here, I've talked about it in Bristol. You saw Penske end up near the top. Brad Keselowski, no dirt race whatsoever.
Right.
He ended up near the top. Joey Logano, very little dirt race experience. Ended up near the top. Penske dominates these little flat half-mile tracks. And, prior to us starting last week with these short tracks, I had a thought in the back of my mind that possibly, perhaps, could Penske lose their dominance? Because, we saw they're changing the inspection process, and we've seen it hurt Stuart Haas, on the mile and a half. Was there something in that where when they go to these smaller tracks, they change the process and it would hurt Penske? If there's any truth to what happened last week or 2 weeks ago in Bristol, it's not going to change them. Because I would have never thought Logano and Keselowski and Blaney, his car was like just torn to pieces in that race, and he finished up in the top 10. So that team knows what they're doing when it comes to setting up their cars for these short tracks. And, even with their drivers not having great dirt track experience, the setup, and then combined with the skill that they actually have, led them to a great result there in Bristol. So, I expect to see a lot of the same this week, Penske dominance.
Yeah, a big part of the reason why you and I think, have been so successful in the beginning of the year together is because we knew that Hendrick Motorsports was not strong the last 5 years, but we knew that this year should be different with the modifications to the car, Larson coming over. Last year, we started to see Will Byron and Alex Bowman slowly pick up racing better. We saw Chase win the championship. So we knew that Hendrick was going to be strong this year. But we both said going into this week, talking privately, that it feels like a Gibbs Penske week. This is the first week where it doesn't feel like a Hendrick Motorsports week to me. Do you agree with that?
No, I have no interest in betting Hendrick Motorsports, but actually it's going to be kind of crazy because the bet I'm going to be talking about actually involves Hendrick Motorsports.
Me too, actually.
But it's for different reasons, and it's not to win the race by any means.
Me too.
I don't think they have a chance to win the race.
All right, so new segment this week, Taylor Fade segment. All right, we're gonna talk about a few drivers, and you let me know if they're bet on this week or if they're a fade this week. So looking at the driver averages and who has dominated the racetrack lately, up until the fall race in 2019, Kyle Busch absolutely dominated Martinsville, right? But the last two races, he struggled. You mentioned one of the reasons why a few minutes ago. But over the last 10 races, he has the best average finish on the track. And honestly, I'm going to completely disregard him pre-race. He starts on the back end of row 6, and, his fractions look strong during the race. And if I see him building up momentum, maybe I'll take a look at him live. But he still hasn't had the best car on the track in any race this year. And that's enough for me to look the other way pre-race. So despite how good he's looked the last 10 races, if you're forcing my hand, I'm going to say I'm going to fade Kyle Busch this week pre-race. What do you think, Taylor Fade?
I'm going to, it's kind of crazy because like I've been using a lot of this bet to hedge off of DFS, it's not on purpose to do that. It's just how it ends up being. Because of the live betting has been very successful, you can do it. Obviously, with DFS, you got to plant your feet in your stones beforehand, and you can't change anything during the race. So, betting-wise, I have absolutely no interest in Kyle Busch pre-race. From a DFS perspective, though, I might have a little bit of him, and I'll tell you why. Because of how the pricing structure set up this week. And he is almost 10K. And they made all of the studs well over 10K, up to 12K. And I think he's going to be so low owned. I mean, I'm thinking we could find a 6 to 7 to 8% Kyle Busch this week in DFS.
Really?
Yes. Because he has a high price too. I'm not going to be heavy on Kyle Busch, but in DFS, but I'll have a couple sprinkles here and there. And that's where I'll hedge off of him, in DFS versus the betting before the race starts.
Yeah, I can get down with that. I feel the same way, really. Brad Keselowski, he's been phenomenal the last 5 years at Martinsville. He's basically been in the top 5, 8 of the last 9 races at the track. And he's been especially strong the last 3 races. He's got 3 top 3s the last 3 races. He's won one of those. So I like Brad this weekend and Penske in general, like you and I just talked about. But I do think that plus 600 price tag is a little expensive considering what he has done this year specifically. But I would be looking to back him in matchups depending on the price and the driver that he's against. So I'll say that Keselowski is a tail for me here. But in terms of a pre-race outright win bet, it's too expensive until I see him dominate on the track. But I'm not against betting Keselowski in matchups or other ways to get on him. What do you think about Kes?
So I 100% agree with you there. And actually, my take on this is a little bit different. It's the opposite of what it was for Kyle Busch. The betting, I don't, mind him if I can find the right matchup and so on and so forth. But the prices I have seen so far aren't right. Whereas in DFS, he starts 10th and he's very expensive. And he has to have dominator points in DFS. And, there's usually 2 or 3 dominators within this race. And there are so many great drivers who are starting up front. He could be shut out. So, in DFS, he might be a good favorite.
Yeah. I don't mind that. DFS better than I do. But I mean, everything that you just said makes sense considering where he's starting in the field.
Mm-hmm.
So Martin Truex Jr., I think he's been the strongest Gibbs car this year on the whole. Even though I think Denny Hamlin has been strong, I still think that thus far, Truex has been the nuts at Gibbs so far. And he's exceptionally strong here. His last 8 races, he's been fantastic. And, the last 2 races, his team has found a new gear because he strolls into Martinsville now, back-to-back defending champion at this race, going for 3 in a row. And that's the reason why he's your betting favorite right now, around plus or 500-600, somewhere around there. Now, I can't fade that type of production, right? But I don't want to bet that short number either. Plus 500 is a really low price, unless you absolutely know, like old school Jimmy Johnson, that the rest of the field doesn't have a shot.
Right.
Outside of that, I can't bet on somebody at 5-1 to win a NASCAR race until I see him on the track, and then I don't mind hopping on once I see where he's at. but not pre-race. So I wouldn't bet him pre-race, but just like Keselowski, depending on the matchup, depending on the price, depending on what his odds are, maybe to sneak into the top 5, I'm not against getting him on there. So I'll say I'm a tail on Truex this week, but I'm not going to bet him pre-race to win the race. What do you think about Truex, tail or fade?
I have the same exact thoughts as what you do, except I think Denny Hamlin's been a little bit better than Truex, even though he's had 2 wins. Hamlin just hasn't had the wins yet. Hamlin's been more consistent. And between how close of the 2 of them have performed has been extremely close. They've been very good. So, which is probably got to be driving Kyle Busch insane, seeing how well the 2 of them are doing, and they're on the same team.
Especially after the year he had last year, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So, in terms of betting Truex, matchups, top 10s, groups,
I didn't see anything out there that interested me. I mean, he's matched up with the drivers that are so, very elite at this racetrack that you could flip a coin and it's 50-50 shot. Who's going to win, who's going to lose. Pre-race. So I don't see any type of edge of betting him whatsoever.
Well, you just spoke about Denny Hamlin. Obviously, he's a 5-time winner at the track. What's the trophy? Is it the grandfather clock? Is that this track?
Yeah, grandfather clock, man.
Yeah, so he's got 5 of those.
He's
five
got 5 of them.
right? All right, so
but none of them have come recently though.
Right. True. I think that he's dangerous. He's a great driver in a great car who has a great track record here. And you know what? Plus 700 is the best number I think that we see compared to what the driver has done on the track, right? So I do think that price is somewhere around fair. I thought plus 800 would be the fair price on Denny Hamlin at Martinsville. It's a little bit more expensive than that, so I'll probably stay off it here. And again, if you could find him in a matchup or a top 10, I don't mind that. But I'm not going to bet him pre-race. What do you think?
No, I have no interest in betting Denny Hamlin pre-race. This is a tough one. If we had some practice, something to go on, it would help out tremendously. But we have no practice, and you have Logano, you have Blaney, you have Hamlin, you have Truex, you have Chase Elliott, who we haven't even talked about yet.
Yep.
Who's been very good here. Keselowski, any one of them, could win this race. They're all very, very good here.
Yeah, Chase has been in the top 10 for the last 5, and he's been in the top 7 3 of the last 4. So Hendrick Motorsports, obviously, they've been the best race team this year, in my opinion, by far. But they don't interest me like we were just talking about. They don't interest me as much this week because, like I said, feels like a Penske and a Gibbs week. But if I was going to back a Hendrick team tomorrow, it would be Will Byron to finish in the top 10. He's going for his 6th straight top 10 tomorrow night. And the sports books just keep hanging that line out there at around even money. And Hendrick Motorsports is not an even money top 10 team anymore. They're so much better this year that I think that Will Byron, even though he has not been exceptionally strong on this track historically, he's starting in the top 10. Track position is huge. His car has looked incredible in almost every race this year. And he's sitting at around even money to sneak into the top 10. I think he does it 6 weeks in a row. I think Byron sneaks into the top 10 again this week. So I don't mind that. And then, like you said, Chase Elliott has been really strong here. But the price, just let me check the price. Right now, he is 6-1 to win the race. That's still too expensive, man. When there are 5 drivers that could legitimately win the race, maybe 6, 6-1 is too expensive. So, I like Byron, and I'm sure Elliott will be a player. What do you think about Hendrick this week?
Very interesting because, like, if you look at like prior results at this race, 2 drivers really dominated it. And I'm talking like years ago. You already mentioned one, Jimmy Johnson.
Right.
Jeff Gordon was pretty damn good here too, man.
Right.
So it's not like Hendrick doesn't know what they're doing here. It's just these other drivers at this particular time are that much better. So we're talking about a couple bets. I don't know if this is something that can be done or not. But if it can be, it would be very interesting to do. Would be to take Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, and Brett Kozlowski, parlay them all together for a top 5 finish. And I'm sure that you would get much, much better odds. You might think it's kind of crazy, but 3 of the last 4 races.
You think Penske, you think that we didn't even talk about Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney could definitely win this race tomorrow night, 100%.
100%.
I think I like Logano least of all of the 3 personally for tomorrow night. But you think that Penske will be that good that they could sneak three top 5?
They've done it 3 of the last 4 races in Martinsville.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what is scary, and you mentioned Joey Logano. He hasn't done very good here when he's been on the pole. Actually, he's had some of his worst performances here. But Joey Logano, to me, tomorrow night is really, really scary because 1, he's good, and 2, he's on the pole, and his pit team has been exceptionally good this year.
Yeah, they have.
Exceptionally good this year.
They've been really good.
They're always good, but they've been exceptionally good this year. So that's kind of scary. There's another bet that I'm kind of looking at. I'm not in. Was Matt DiBenedetto to win his group. It was like against,
Matty D. Huh?
Yeah. Matty D, Wood Brothers, Penske affiliate. Last year, he did really good here last year.
Tyler Reddick, Eric Almirola, and Bubba. He has to beat.
Yep. So Tyler Reddick, I think finished 18th or worst in both of his races here last year. Eric Almirola has been up and down, and we know, what kind of issues Stuart Haas is having. And Bubba Wallace, this is one of his better tracks. I think he would be the main competition there. But, I like Matty D that much in that matchup. Don't know if I'm going to go with it, but, something I've been thinking about. The one I am going to go with is back to Hendrick Motorsports, and that's Chase Elliott, and that's top Chevy. And the number's not that great, but it's plus 125. But I think
that's really bad, though, Coop, considering how strong the other Hendrick cars have been. That's a low price. You like that?
I like it because he's been that much better than Bowman and Byron at this track.
Actually, it's plus 150 now at DraftKings.
Okay. So, if you look past them, that's his competition. The only way he doesn't, finish above these drivers is if he has some type of mechanical issue or so on and so forth, which you can't predict. But, he has been really good here. Really good. So I think he's that far much better than Bowman and Byron. And then, you got Tyler Reddick. Like, Kyle Larson isn't even in the picture for me this week.
Me either.
I hate to say it. But, he's just not been very good at short tracks. So I'm going to stick, with Chase Elliott and top Chevy.
Okay. All right. I agree. Kyle Larson, me and you have been blowing Kyle Larson for seven straight weeks.
Yep.
And I have no desire to be on him at all this week.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at his numbers. Vegas is saying the same thing. I mean, he's gone from plus 600, plus 700, plus 1250 right now.
What do you think about my Will Byron top 10 call? He finished second in this race, 2 back. He finished 8th last year in 2020. I think he's going to be strong tomorrow.
Well, he starts third, so he has a solid pit team. He's running very well. It's going to be hard. It's going to take a mistake for him to finish outside of the top 10.
I agree,
because of what you were talking about with track position being so important.
Yep. That's why I like that price around even money. I all right. So if you were picking 5 drivers to win the race, it would be the 3 Penske Fords, Truex, and who?
Chase Elliott. And then Denny Hamlin. Those 6.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I agree.
If one of those 6 drivers do not win, it would be a major upset in my mind.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm definitely with you on Keselowski, Blaney, Truex, and Elliott. I don't know. I just hate Joey Logano. I think that's the problem. I just hate the guy, and I think it clouds my handicapping of him every week. He would not be in my top 5 this week, even though he probably should be.
Yeah. He's good here. He's very good.
I'll tell you what, bro. If Kyle's car is set up like Truex's car this week, he's going to be dangerous.
Yeah. He's somebody I'm going to watch very early in the race because he's, 13 to 1? You can still get good numbers on him.
Yeah.
So definitely, and he's starting, I think, 12th. So he's not far out.
Right.
So not far out.
All right. So Coop, you're gonna take Chase Elliott Top Chevy plus 150 for your bet.
Yep.
All right. I guess I'm gonna take, as of right now, Will Byron top 10 minus 105 as of right now. And you probably could find even money. Now, for Run Pure subscribers, I'm going to dig into the race more tonight. I might throw another play on the sheet. But for the video, I'm going to say Byron top 10 at minus 105. Coop's going to say Elliott top Chevy plus 150, and then I guess that's it. Now, people are about to get upset because this race is Saturday night. I might only go live for subscribers tomorrow because we have the UFC going on all day and night also. But I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Maybe I'll make 2 videos and I'll do the UFC for subscribers and then the race for the public. I'm not sure, but there's a chance that it might just be for subscribers and then Sunday hop on for the Masters. But either way, the live betting show is going to be on at 7:30 tonight. It's going to be on at noon tomorrow, all day and night. And then it's going to be on at Sunday, probably around 2 o'clock for the final round of the Masters. So subscribers, pop in, come and hang out. Coop, you're going to see a lot of Coop this weekend on the live show. Tyler's probably going to pop in at some point. Snyder, the golf guy's probably going to hop in at some point for some weekend Masters bets. Uncle T said he was looking to pop on. Big T told me that he might pop on Sunday and come and hang out. So going to be probably a lot of heads coming in and out of the live show. And that's it. So for Coop, for myself, we're out of here. Might see you tomorrow. Subscribers, we will see you in an hour. And other than that, I hope your action runs pure this weekend, boys. Good night.